What's going on, everyone? Yes, today is another toy review, and yes, the man that stands in front of you is Seiya from the epic manga slash anime Saint Seiya. Now, this particular version is called a Gold Saint. That is much as you're going to get out of me dealing with info. I have no flipping clue about Saint Seiya whatsoever. I bought this figure due to the fact that it looks fucking amazing. I am not lying to you. That is exactly why I purchased it. I do know about Saint Seiya a very small amount of info due to the fact that I have two friends that's actually Saint Seiya fans, and I played the PlayStation 2 game back in the day when I was like in high school. So that was about it. Other than that, I have no clue. But beyond all that, this figure here is made by Bandai. This is a Tamashii Nations figure. And let's go ahead and jump into this review and see what it has to offer, or not so much. So right off the back, you can see for yourself, I'm gonna bring him up close. Seiya here looks phenomenal. This is the main reason why I picked him up. This is a great looking figure. I'm talking about the details are just amazing. Like, everything looks really good. The color, the tones, they pop really well. Now, this figure, which I will be going over with you, this figure looks really nice, but it does have quite a bit of problems going on with this figure. And it's definitely not the looks that causes this figure to have issues. It's one of the biggest things about this figure that actually turns this figure more problematic than actually not. But here's your side details. And what's funny is that I was telling a friend the other day that this figure has tons and tons of die casts. It's probably the most die cast figure I've ever owned. Even my Gundam, I think it's a metal build. Yeah, the metal build Gundam is not as heavy as this figure. This figure is definitely beating that Gundam by far with weight. And when I mean everything is die cast, I really do mean it. Like, his feet is die cast metal, his shin guards, die cast metal, his thigh guards, die cast metal, his waist piece is all die cast. His abdomen piece is not. It's actually plastic. His chest piece is die cast. His bicep armor is die cast. His forearm, forearm armor is die cast. The shoulder pieces is die cast mixed with plastic, and his head piece itself is plastic. So that is all of the die cast running throughout this figure. So when I say this figure is heavy, I do mean this figure is heavy. Now, as for height comparison, here's a Figma, and then here is a DC figure, Deathstroke. So I'll go ahead and put him in the background real quick. Do not fall forward, Deathstroke, with your shitty legs. Alright, hopefully he don't tumble. But let me zoom back some so you can get a good look. That is your height comparison. So for the most part, these figures are a smidget, probably like 7 inches tall, or like 6.5. Not by much though. It's pretty small figures, but really nicely done. Further as looks. I'll go ahead and move them out the way real quick. Next thing I want to show is I'm going to show accessories. Now, Seiya here comes with, clearly his whole fucking armor setup is an accessory in itself. The actual, oh shit, and it's not broke. It comes off. Nicely snaps back on too, by the way. But the actual look of good old Seiya here, not only his armor, he comes with these gigantic ass plastic wings, but they're still kind of heavy. And I'm talking about, they look really nice. Here's the height. Oh, something else fell over. Let me come back a bit so you can actually see for yourself. That is the height of the wing. It's damn near tall as him. They are articulated right here. So you can lift it like that. So I'm gonna go ahead and put it on his back so you can actually see him in his full form with the armor on. So this goes into there like that. And one thing about these wings you have to be careful with, because they're plastic, you don't want to chip any paint, because I can definitely see some paint issues because it's just nice shiny metallic gold going on. So if anything chips, it's probably going to make whatever you have on this figure look pretty tacky due to the fact that his color is so prominent and so strong. But that is how he look when he's fully complete. So you're gonna get those wings that I just added onto him. Let's go ahead and move him to the side because he is the major thing that I have to show. He's gonna get a set of, let's see, 1, 2, 3, and 4. He's gonna get 4 set of hands in total. So I'm gonna go ahead and zoom up real quick and I'll show you a few things. All right, here's the hand. It's nicely sculpted. You even see a little baby nail there. Now, I'll show you a hand with an armor plate on it, which is that right there. Now, this is one thing that I find to be fucking stupid. The first thing is, why is it that they felt the need to make an actual removable piece for his hands? This is fucking stupid. And I'm gonna tell you why it's stupid. One, it's stupid because you can lose the piece. That's the first and foremost reason why it's stupid. Secondly, if he doesn't have his armor on, you have hands that's strictly meant for him, not when he's armored up. And that is it, a bare ass skin fist. So why do they feel the need to actually have this as a separate part? That's dumb. First of all, you get in total 4 separate pieces, 2 for the left and 2 for the right. And the reason why I'm saying it's dumb, because look, I have these other hands going on here that doesn't have the piece, so I have to remove this piece off of one hand just to apply it to another. It's stupid, flat out. Like I said, this was a very dumb call. But you get the whole, oh, you get this finger. It looks like a standard pointing finger. It's not. It's actually meant for his bow. He actually has a bow because this particular Seiya, or not Seiya, but this cloth, that's what they call him as well, I think, if I'm not wrong. He is the Sagittarius zodiac. So he has this thing going on, which I'll go ahead and show you as well while I'm showing you the hands. And you also see his other accessory, which is a bow and arrow. But he is the Sagittarius particular hero, and you get this little thing that holds all of his armor, which I will be showing you at the end of the video because I'll be removing his armor at the very end. But so you're gonna get a bare fist, which is completely naked. You're gonna get that pointy finger one I just showed you. You're going to get the hand that I showed you with the armor on it. This hand is meant for the arrow itself. That's why you see that little hole there. It actually holds the arrow. It is sculpted very nicely. So you're going to get that. And then you're going to receive kind of like these action hands, which is also sculpted extremely nice. I even like the little baby nails you got going on. You're going to get 2 pieces of hair. One piece of hair is when he actually doesn't have his crown on. The other piece of hair is when he has his crown on. So this hair piece is when he doesn't have the crown on. It's just one solid piece. And what's nice about it, they do give you a few numbers, like you can see that number there, a few numbers, just so that way you won't get confused while trying to put on his hair, because it does, the other hair actually has several pieces that can move, which I'm going to show you. But this is his other face, so I'll go ahead and just slap that into there, And there you go. It almost looks like he's relaxing, maybe trying to take a deuce and it won't come, or he just might be sleeping or dead. I don't know. But that is the other face. Nicely sculpted hair. The hair looks amazing. That was one of the first things I really noticed when I was taking the figure out the box, is how good the actual hair is sculpted on this figure. So that looks amazing. Now I'm bringing this up close so I can actually show you this bow in detail, which is not too much going on. It's just a gold bow, okay? But further as the look of it, it's pretty straight. Nice little details, and goes all the way up there. And it's a pretty nice sized bow. Like, let me go ahead and show you a height comparison of the bow real quick. I'll pull back. Let's grab anybody. Doesn't really matter who. Just to show you, if this was on the ground, the bow actually surpasses Guts, which is a Figma figure. But it's a pretty tall bow, even when you look at it with the Seiya figure. Nice size. Alright. And then you get the arrow itself, which I'll zoom back up. And it's just pure gold tone. Now, the thing that is holding the actual figure, holding the actual bow and arrow, is just a piece of plastic. And if you notice, it almost looks like a piss stain piece of ice, because you can see straight through it. It's like crystallized, and it doesn't have any articulated points. It just has parts where you can dissect to put the armor on, because you have to actually break it down into pieces to remove the armor and to put on the armor. So what's kind of cool about this is that this little thing here, once you take the armor off of Seiya himself and you apply it to this hollow shell here, you actually get to see the armor displayed nicely on his own. So this is really cool. Let me go ahead and zoom back a bit so you can actually see there. It's just a basic piece of plastic, and it holds up really well. So that being said, let's go ahead and move on to the figure himself. Now, this is the articulation, and I'm going to show you the bad and the good while I'm going through articulation. So I'm going to go ahead and move the wings 1 second, because I need these out of the way. All right. This is where it gets really serious on the details. All right. So on his headpiece, it is one piece of plastic. His head can move about that far down, that far back, probably hindered due to the collar part of the armor itself. It can tilt that far over and about that far over due to his hair is in the way. Now, going down to the neck, his neck can turn, but the neck is still stiff because the toy is new. You have the tendency to just try to turn the neck, and you won't. It won't turn due to the fact that, like I said, the stiffness, so 9 times 10 the head to turn. But you do get a nice range with the head. You see how I can actually turn the head full 360 even in the armor. So it's not hindered whatsoever. Going down to his actual shoulders, and I'll show you how the armor works along with the figure itself. The armor is really cool, really nice. So it's a clip-on that actually clips onto the collar of the neck slash chest piece, right? So the way that works, you can actually pull out like so, right? And then it's attached to a ball joint that goes into the armor. So you can actually get more height, or you can actually move it back if you need be. What's cool is because you get more range dealing with the armor of the figure. Now, moving this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and try to pull the arm piece off, so you can see what I mean, and I can actually be taking the armor off while I'm showing you. So let's go ahead and do a quick zoom up. So if you look under here, there's the ball joint that I was speaking about. There's the clip, and then it even has a swivel if need be. And then this is on an actual hinge that is also removable if you need to. And is on another hinge that actually gets the armor closer to the arm. This armor on this figure is so thought out. Now, some parts is really well thought out, some parts not so much, which I will begin further down to the situation. So I'm gonna go ahead and remove that off. And when you're looking at the figure himself, let's go ahead and focus. There we go. He's on a ball joint. Now that ball joint goes into the body itself, and it got really nice range. Most of this range will be hindered due to the suit. In this case, you can still get that motion on this, even with the arm piece. It goes out onto a hinge, it goes about that far up, and then if you lift the actual whole joint, it goes about that far up. Now, further as doing a full 360, you can do. It's not a problem. No issues whatsoever there. Going down to the bicep, you have a swivel here. Going down to the actual elbow, you have double hinges. Double hinges cannot be utilized due to the fact of the actual bicep armor. It stops all of that. So you can go ahead and forget trying to do a double bend because it's not going to happen. All right, now going to the forearm, this here, just your standard, nothing different or special. Going down to the I'm so stuck today. Going down to the wrist itself, you have a peg into the forearm itself that's on a hinge, and then the actual hinge joint goes into the hand, which is on a ball joint. Further as range of motion, a little bit, not too much, due to the fact that the actual top part of the hand guard blocks a lot of the movement. If you notice, when I move it back, you can see it starting to come up. So if I move this hand piece, go ahead, pull it off. If I move this hand piece, now you got a little bit more range to work with. Now, the thing is, on this figure, a lot of the armor is just going to block a whole lot of different movements, so you got to take that into consideration. Now, going down to his chest area, I'll show you that 1 second. Let me go ahead and focus. So, in this area, he has a abdomen joint. The abdomen joint don't really work too well, even with the armor or without the armor. In this case, with the armor, you're not moving it. So just go ahead and forget that. That's not gonna happen. You can barely even turn it. I wouldn't suggest you to turn it for 2 reasons. 1, you don't want to break nothing. 2, because even if you could move it, which you can't, but if you could, you would scrape up all of the gold or the fake gold. Okay, so this upper upper joint, you can go ahead and throw it out the window. Going down to his waist, this is also on a ball joint, but it is extremely hard to move even without the armor. That being said, with the armor, still can't move. Now this is a reason why you don't want to move it, which I'm going to show you partially. I don't want to do it quite yet because I don't want nothing to fall off, because I want to show you articulation. So the problem is, if you happen to turn this waist, when you turn this waist, you can scratch up the fake armor, or the fake goat rather. But beyond all that, this little jewel here, right? So these 2 jewels actually hold the armor together. In this case, this jewel up here holds up his breastplate. This jewel down here holds up his skirt guard, okay? The problem is when you actually lift the crotch piece up, it would actually push this fake jewel up, which will unlock the skirt guard, which the skirt guard will fall the fuck off. Nothing is holding this actual skirt guard together but that jewel. So this is where the biggest problem I have with this entire figure. This jewel on his waist is absolutely shitty. What I mean by that is that it will literally come off with ease if you move this skirt piece up. By any means, you can go ahead and forget it. It's going to be a pain in your ass. You will find yourself constantly capping it back down. So This is the biggest flaw, and I'm going to show you the articulation, then I'll show you what I mean. So articulation wise, each part is on a double hinge, which is really nice. In this case, the side pieces you push outwards, and then you can get all type of range with it. That way you can actually get the legs high if you need to. Of course it's going to look weird, but you don't have to lift it that high. I'm just being ridiculous, but you get a nice range when you do it. So even if you move this skirt guard up, which I just unlocked it. I had to lock it back real quick, but you can see what I mean. So you can get nice range of motion due to the design of that, which is really cool. Turn around to the back, same thing goes. Let me go ahead and focus for y'all. You can pull it outwards like so, and then that way anything that you're doing won't get in the way of the pose. This is really nice. I think the engineering on this skirt guard is really fucking great. Just the shitty jewel, that's the problem. So let me show you what I mean. So if I push this up, see the jewel just shifted. When it shifts, it falls off. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and move this out the way. If you notice, as soon as I shift it, the waist is already coming off. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull that off. So now, that being off and all, and I'm gonna also show you the chest piece as well. So let me go back up. This right here, actually, you pull from the front. You just wiggle it. Want to be careful. I don't have no nails, so I can't really, it's hard for me to get it off, but I'll get it off. There we go. So, pulls off. Now, this is engineered very intelligent, very smart. Multiple things is holding this chest piece together. You got 6 slots in total that's actually holding this together. So this was really well done. Too bad the skirt piece was not designed as well. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull off that part, move that out the way, and then we're gonna go ahead and I'll show you. This actually opens like this. Lift up the arms. It's almost like I'm doing a damn transformer. Lift the arms up, and then you can try to wiggle some of this stuff. Normally it wouldn't be this hard, but I do have his armor on, and his armor is a pain in the ass by itself. So let's see if I can actually get it. All right, so I'm gonna have to remove his hand off the joint. Now, I want to also say, putting on hands and removing hands, be super careful. This right here, that little part clearly is fucking tiny, and you can definitely twist that the wrong way and probably break it. So be super careful with that. And putting on the hand is just as hard as taking off the hand. So there's the armor for that off. There's the other part. Now, the other thing I didn't like was on this armor, if you notice, I was able to just pull off the armor, right? So that's pretty much how it goes. It's like a slide-on armor. The downside to that whole situation is that sometimes if you don't push the armor all the way up on the plastic, the armor will actually shift around and it's not sturdy. So that's another thing that I don't like on this figure. So I'm gonna go ahead and open up this armor. Got one part off, open up that part, got the other part off, and then you got this neck piece going on, which is a piece of plastic. Okay, pull off the head like so, and voila, part is off. Now, what's kind of funny, which is hilarious, he actually has neck hair. Funny. Anyway, he has neck hair, and then you just pop that on like that, and you got a little movable part. That's pretty damn neat. Do you need that? They could have just made that one piece, but I guess they tried to do that to actually help with articulation, I guess. I don't know, maybe. Or they just thought it was cool. I don't get it, but whatever. So we're gonna go down to his waist piece. This I haven't messed with yet, but I can tell you right now I don't like it. The reason why I don't like it is because if you notice, it is clipped on the sides. It is nothing actually helping you to remove this off when you're ready to remove this. So I can find this being a like pain in the ass, because if you notice, look how deep the slots is for you to push to try to get this armor off. So you can possibly break this armor 9 times out of 10. So I would say if you do remove this armor, be super, super careful. But you can kind of see without, oh, well, shit, maybe I'm a liar. There's my answer. The best way to remove the damn armor, just wiggle his abs, and that should have come off, and because that's pretty much what happened. So there we go. We got some stuff going on here. So now that's off, right? You can see he gets way more motion than you think he can, but the armor actually hinders all of that. Now going down to the pelvis area. So you got a hinge joint for both parts, which gets some pretty nice range. You can kick about that far up. You can't really go back any due to the fake molded butt cheeks. And even if you had the armor on, in this case, you couldn't keep the leg up. Because look, this is why figures should not be fully die cast. This is the biggest part, this is my second huge flaw about this figure. This figure body cannot support the type of die cast that this figure is offering. This figure body is way too fucking flimsy. The best figure that executed it was, I had a, I think it was made by Bandai as well. I had an Evangelion figure, Unit 1, and it was one of the Shigoken figures. That damn figure was amazing. I'm so pissed I sold it, but it was so good because they picked just the right places to actually make die cast, so the whole figure was balanced. No joints were actually loose whatsoever, and was ironic and funny at the same time. This same body that you're looking at, this is the exact same body that the Ava unit used. It's just the Ava unit was made better. Exact same body, even when it come down to the joints. I mean, the naked body is exactly the same. You can even see the cut in his chest, where on the Ava unit you can actually remove his chest plate and you can see his core or his non-core. So that was actually really cool that they have it. So that's how you can tell you're dealing with the same body type, because it got the same actual cuts that the Evangelion figure had. But moving along, just wanted to throw that out there real quick. Coming down to the legs. Double jointed knees. Oh yeah, and that is on a swivel, by the way. So you can also swivel the leg as well. But you got double jointed knees, really nice bend, doesn't look tacky. I don't know what this like fake ass keyhole in the knee is for. You probably can get like different armors, I'm guessing, and put it on them. That's the only thing I can think of, because nothing that he gets or comes with actually requires that weird port. So that's really odd. Now going down to his ankle, can't really go back any. Go about that far forward. Toe joint, huge toe joint. Damn, that reminds me of the Evangelion Metacom figure that I have. Really nice toe joint. I mean, this thing is nice. You can get some really good poses. Problem is, he can't hold a pose, so it doesn't really fucking matter. Now, taking off his foot. His foot is die cast as well, like I was saying earlier. So you just pull that off. Same exact style as that Evangelion figure that I was speaking about, because the Evangelion figure literally has a die cast foot. So we're gonna go ahead and pull that shin guard off. Let's pull this thigh piece off like so. Take the other foot off. That just fell off. See what I mean? It's just floating armor. It's nothing actually stopping it. And what I mean by the Evangelion was just a better design figure was that on the Evangelion figure, which was made better, his armor was actually designed for the mold of the figure. So that armor did not move. When you put the armor on, it stayed in place like it should. This armor just, like I said, floats on the toy. So it's nothing actually keeping anything in place. That was one thing I really also did not like. So that being said, oh, last thing that actually showed to be removed. I'll come up to the head real quick. So let's go ahead and bring him close. His headpiece is really damn cool. I won't lie. Like the headpiece on this figure is nice because how complex it is. So the way this works, you pull the head off, because you can't do it with the head on, or you could, or you probably just want to drive yourself fucking nuts. So the way it works, let's go ahead and focus. What the hell? There we go. Oh, I didn't have it zoomed in. Damn me. But so you have it focused, right? So the way this works, you're going to remove several parts of this head. So the first part is this little piece that you see right here, that's removable. So let's go ahead and wiggle that. And be careful because you don't want to break the plastic. Boom, it's off. So if you notice, his head piece is actually in his hair. You can go ahead, if you look down here, I'm gonna try to focus real quick. 2 more joints, or 2 more segment pieces. You can wiggle this loose, and that comes off like so. And like I said, be careful because what's happening, his hair is actually lodged around the crown. Oh, sorry. It's lodged around the crown, so you don't want to break the crown because the crown is pretty fragile. And if you notice, the last piece of hair is pegged right into the hair itself. The last piece of hair is pegged actually onto the crown, and then the crown is separate, like so. So when that is all off, you can take that hair that we had earlier, which I'm going to put back onto the original face, like so. Once I actually find the hole, that's what she said. All right, look. So there you go. So now you have no armor. Pop that back on. Let's take the hand off on this other hand, or other arm rather. That falls off. Pull this. That falls off. And let's find his hands, his old naked fists. So that snaps on. Now I'm not gonna lie, the hands snapping on, like the basic hands that he come with, snaps on really easy. I did not have to fight with them. It's the armor hands that I had a problem with and had to deal with. That drove me nuts, but you still want to be careful. All right, so that snaps into place. So I'm just gonna stand him right here. I'm gonna zoom back some. And you have a naked Seiya figure. So that is the review of this figure here. My overall thoughts about this figure. If you do not do toy photography, this figure is actually great. I mean, if you're just gonna stand him in the case, cool. I mean, this is definitely a great figure. It's a nice looking piece. It definitely looks freaking amazing. But if you plan on doing like toy photography, or you mess around with stuff quite a bit, realistically, you're not gonna like it. Cause holding a pose with this figure is fucking awful. Period. Just getting him to stand up. When I was setting up this review, he failed several times due to the weight of his wings alone. So I'm just saying, if you're really big on Seiya, pick it up. If you're not, don't pick it up. That's just as simple as it's gonna get. Cause like I said, I like the figure. It looks nice, but realistically, I'm probably not gonna hold on to this figure too long. And like I said, my Evangelion figure, I actually want that back. That Ava was fucking great. I'm talking about from top to bottom. And I had the non-renewal version, so it had like a bad neck joint. But even beyond that, the figure was just great. I mean, it was well put together with his die cast. This figure, not so much, because the die cast is just way, way too heavy for a fragile character like this. They definitely should have bulked up his joints and made them a lot stronger to actually handle the weight of his armor. But that being said, hope you enjoyed this review. It was quite lengthy. If that's a real word, whatever. But it was pretty long, but I had to go over everything with y'all, so sorry for the long length of this video. But you're probably used to it by now. Y'all have a great one. Take care. Continue to collecting shits. And I already said have a great one. Have a good one. God damn it.